Hey guys, what's up? My name is Lau'Ren, for those of you who don't know me, and I decided to start this YouTube channel, entitle it, uh, coincidentally, Journey to PA. Because in the fall of 2018, when I was just about finished my second degree at Stockton University which was a Bachelor of Science in Health Science, I decided to completely switch my concentration from speech language pathology and communication disorders to physician assistant studies. So, because the process has been so long and so tedious, I figured I would share a couple of tips and tricks and how I'm kind of navigating the process, because it is definitely a journey, but how I'm navigating this process to ultimately apply to PA programs. So, what is a PA? A PA is a shorter name for a physician's assistant. You probably can come in contact with PAs a lot throughout your life, whether it be in your doctor's offices, hospital settings. They're everywhere for the most part now. It's become such a popular occupation, very competitive nonetheless, but a lot of times, there are doctors on call, but PAs work directly under the trained eye of a physician. So they can treat, they can diagnose, they can prescribe. You can even assist with surgeries and deliver babies, which is pretty nice. So, but we'll talk about that a little bit more later. I have a degree from Montclair State University that I got in the fall of 2010. I started at Montclair in fall of 2007. And ultimately, I graduated with a Bachelor of Arts in Linguistics with a concentration in communication disorders. When I decided to go back to school after I had my daughter was born March 2015. And in January of 2017, I decided to go back to school. Once I kind of saw how much was required to apply to my programs and to even get into a graduate program, I decided that with as many classes that I needed to retake, it just made more sense to get a second degree and go into the application process for grad school with not only one undergraduate degree, but two. So by the end of this year, actually, I'll have a Bachelor of Science in Health Science with a concentration in Physician Assistant Studies. Initially, when I thought I was going to apply, I always knew that the goal was to go back to school, go to grad school, get a master's degree, and hell, maybe even higher than that. But it's been a process trying to, for the most part, decide what it was that I wanted to do. So again, I always had, my first degree was in communication disorders. So I thought this time around I would be applying to SLP, or speech language pathology programs. It wasn't as clinical as I wanted to get involved. I really wanted to get my hands dirty. I wanted to treat. I wanted to see patients. I wanted to treat and diagnose and be able to really, really, really get in there on the clinical side. So I even looked into audiology prior to me switching out of speech language pathology. Audiology is just kind of like the next step up after you get your master's in SLP. You can get a doctorate degree in audiology, and it's just basically the study of the ear. So a lot of people that require hearing aids or cochlear implants, they all see audiologists. But again, I enjoyed learning about the ear and the ear, nose, and throat and all that good stuff, but I really just wanted to do the whole broad spectrum of the full human body. Everything about it interested me. So I've been now on this process since the switch was, I'll say, fall 2018. So really, like, starting in January 2019 was when I really, I had got a couple of the sciences out of the way, and I really said, all right, I'm going to buckle down and really knock off a lot of the prerequisites that I need to apply. So just to give you an example of how difficult it is to get into PA school, physician assistant programs, they get thousands and thousands of applications every year. And depending on the school, some schools only accept anywhere between 15 minimal to maybe a class of 50 or 70 max. So you figure weeding through thousands and thousands of applications and to be selected into such a small number is terrifying. But it's been exciting nonetheless. So the goal is to really just build up your application to ensure that when you're applying, you're not getting a bunch of decline letters. The goal is to is the goal, and what I heard in the very beginning of this process is, and it was actually the best piece of advice I got from a friend of mine from high school who is currently a practicing physician assistant. She told me getting into a program is the hardest part. So I really took heed to what she said, and I really wanted to make sure that as I'm going through this process, every single thing that I'm doing is going to be a benefit or do me a service to getting into a program. So again, January 2009 was kind of like the start of the upward battle. You know, I had started the science classes at Stockton. I was doing really well in those. I decided to leave Stockton because I needed to take, at this point, I needed 6 more science classes. I needed 2 to transfer back to Stockton to graduate with my second degree. And then I would need 4 more just for my applications for grad school. So I decided to start going to ACC because, again, paying for this second degree is all out of pocket, no loans, no nothing like that. So it's been a process. But ACC offered the science classes that I needed, and most of the schools, actually all of the schools that I'm applying to are actually okay with having multiple transcripts and you taking classes at community, because it's a huge responsibility financially. So, with all of that, you have to have patient care. For most of the applications, they all, for the most part, require different things specifically. But in general, they have prerequisite courses that you have to take in the sciences, but also general courses like a form of a psychology, whether it be general or developmental, medical terminology. Some schools like to see statistics. Some schools like to see like a college level algebra or higher. It's really kind of grade focused, which is a good and a bad thing. I guess it's good to kind of weed out candidates, I guess, because you will technically be working on people's lives. So I guess it makes sense, but it's very nerve-wracking. But aside from the prerequisite courses, they like to see that you have patient care experience, which is way different from volunteering somewhere or doing anything like that. Patient care experience is working in a hospital setting as like a nurse's aide or a patient care tech, an emergency room tech, an EMT, a CNA, a medical assistant. Like there's a couple different things that you could do, but it's basically where you have hands-on experience dealing with the patient. So in February, actually, I started working at a hospital out here, Shore Medical Center, as a nurse's aide / patient care tech. But I'm on the float team, so I get to float around to all the different departments in the hospital. I've worked in OB, maternity, the emergency department, med surg, the neuro floor. I've worked on the orthopedic side. And my personal favorites, the critical care sides, like intensive care unit and telemetry, or the cardiac floors, where you actually work with patients that require heart monitors and things of that such. So that's how I am currently and still getting my patient care experience hours. Like I said, I started there in February of this past year, and it's now September, and I have over 1,000 hours. So like some schools, like Thomas Jefferson, requires 250 patient care experience hours. I set a personal goal for myself that when I send my applications off, I want to have a minimum of 3,000 hours. So it's way above what like Duke and George Washington require for their PA programs, but I'm really trying to aim for the stars with this. And like I said, the goal is to get into way more than one school. I would love it if I can get into all the schools that I apply to. So trying to make your application, the more desirable, the better. Aside from, another form of patient care experience hours, like I said, could be working as an EMT. Throughout this year, because I knew I wanted to gain so many hours, I also went through the EMT certification program at Atlantic Cape Community. I received the certification through EPSEEK and Emergency Services. So soon, once my schedule kind of breaks up, school did just start again for the semester. So I'm trying to see when ideally would be a good time for me to volunteer there, because I also want to work as a volunteer EMT to, again, gain more hours for the process. Letters of recommendation are common. Most schools require anywhere between 3 to 5. So the biggest piece of advice is to get someone that has either taught you or you've worked alongside with, either PAs or physicians, no one that you really know unless you've worked really alongside them. But the more personal your letters are that you submit, the better. What else do they require? They require health insurance. They require you have to pass a background check, child abuse clearances, have to pass a drug test. You have to, what else do you have to do? It's like it's literally, this process has been a process, but which is also why I'm happy to kind of start this channel and be able to kind of share tips and tricks that have helped me along the way. So I am not done yet. I am not starting my application process. Every single thing that I'm doing right now is gearing up and preparing me to start my applications. Actually, the application, the CASPA is what most people, mostly all schools that have PA programs, you send your applications through the CASPA. So it actually stands for Centralized Application System for PA, I think. Okay, don't quote me, but I think so. But for the most part, all schools that you're applying to, they basically pull your application, I guess your application documents or whatever through there. So it makes it good because you don't have to apply to multiple different schools through their websites or whatever, or through hard paper applications. You can just, for the most part, just use one central system, which is nice. But a lot of the schools, not only do they apply applications through CASPA, but they also may have supplemental applications that go directly through the school. So it's really important that you just stay organized and understand what schools require what, because again, I don't think I've come across any 2 or 3 of the same schools that have the same requirements, the same dates, the same, everything is literally different. So the more organized you are, and more prepared you are, like I would say leave some time before you actually send out your applications to really make sure you're nailing and you're sending in, some solid information. I guess that's about it for now. I'm really excited about this channel. Like I said, this has been a process, and I found that watching other people's, Adana, the PA, PAC, Physician Assistants of Color, following a lot of different groups has helped me. It has not only further solidified the fact that this is where I'm supposed to be, this is what I'm doing, but I found it helpful being able to hear other people's processes and their journeys and their stories. It kind of shows you that, okay, they can do it, I can do this too, and not everybody's paths are the same, which makes it really, really interesting to kind of learn and see. So I hope you guys enjoyed. I'm looking forward to putting out more videos along the way. I just actually got approval to start shadowing some of the PAs at the hospital, which was also a process. I'll talk about that more in depth in another video. But I hope you enjoyed, and I'm looking forward to making more videos. Good luck to you all.